राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। प्रभुपदा 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 जय प्रभुपदा। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। जयम विश्वपाद परमहंस परिवाजकचर्य स्तोत्र श्रीमद् हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की। इस्कॉन संस्थापक आचार्य बीबीटी संस्थापक आचार्य श्रीला प्रभुपाद की। सेवियर ऑफ ऑल फॉलन सोल श्रीला प्रभुपाद की। श्रीला प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात देशतारिणी। Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurudmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhambitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pradamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya cha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So reading from Srila Prabhupada lilamrta, unlimited opportunity, limited time. Is it okay now? Sorry? Oh. Volume 4. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please accept my greetings in the happy year of 1969, and blessings of Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for your kindly participating in this happy meeting of Krishna consciousness. This was a tape that Guru Das Prabhu started, and suddenly he could hear Prabhupada's voice. Although Prabhupada had recorded the tape in the quiet of his room in Los Angeles, the devotees were astonished to feel Prabhupada's direct presence preaching Krishna consciousness to the English. Lord Chaitanya informed us that the absolute Supreme Personality of Godhead can descend in transcendental sound vibration, and thus we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra offenselessly. We immediately contact Krishna and his internal energy. Thus we become immediately purified from all dirty things in our heart. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The guest sat listening politely as Prabhupada described the soul's travail of transmigration from body to body, and the path of the soul's liberation through chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna consciousness was transcendently colorful and full of transcendental pleasure. Chanting could be done anywhere, on the street, in the park, or at home. Prabhupada concluded his talk. But to assemble and sit together, we require a place for congregation. Therefore, a temple of the Krishna consciousness movement is required to be established in various centers in the world, irrespective of the particular country's culture, philosophy, and religion. Krishna consciousness is so universal and perfect that it can appeal to everyone irrespective of his position. Therefore, I fervently appeal to you all present in this meeting to extend your cooperation for successful execution of this great movement, thanking you once more. So this is what this chapter speaks about. Prabhupada had limited time. Thus he was so much full of energy, even at this age, in the late 60s, 1969, 68, and early 70s. He was really trying all means to spread Krishna consciousness wherever he could, all over America, etc., and Europe, everywhere. At this age, he was like a young boy, jumping, full in love with Radha Krishna, and then trying to distribute this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra all over. There was a pause, and then Prabhupada began playing the harmonium and singing Hare Krishna. Afterward, he again spoke. My disciples in London have very eagerly asked me to visit there, and I am also very anxious to see you all. So as soon as there is opportunity, I shall go with my Sankirtan party, who are now engaged in Los Angeles, and that will be a great pleasure for you all to meet together. That is all. Only a few weeks after the meeting, the group received the first important publicity. A photo of the 6 devotees and little Saraswati appeared with an article by the famous columnist Atticus in the Sunday Times. Guru Das was quoted as saying, Hare Krishna is a chant which sets God dancing on your tongue. Try chanting Queen Elizabeth. So try chanting Queen Elizabeth and see the difference. The article described the missionary group from America as very gentle people, a bit unworldly, but not at all ingenuous. Citing the renunciation of illicit sex and intoxication, the article commented, tame you might think, but they look very well on it. And what's likely to earn them a public in their chanting? Within a few days, the same article appeared in the San Francisco Chronicle, but with a new headline, Krishna chants startle London. Prabhupada was pleased when he saw the headline. Indeed, his Grihastha disciples had succeeded where his sannyasi godbrothers had failed. Although several of Prabhupada's scholarly godbrothers had lectured around England over the last 35 years, only one person, an elderly English lady named Elizabeth Bowtell, had shown interest. So, prior to Prabhupada going to the West, to Europe, his godbrothers was there trying to attract people to Krishna consciousness. But hardly anybody came to Krishna consciousness, showed interest. Only one lady. So when Prabhupada sent his Grihastha disciples to Europe, Immediately they started to attract many people and make them chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We continue. Yamuna had written Prabhupada to find out if they should visit Mrs. Bautal. She had received her name Vinoda Vani Dasi. And Prabhupada had replied, the history of this Vani Dasi is that she is an old lady and has a house and has hung a sign, Gaudiya Mat, but that is all. If they liked, Prabhupada had said they could pay her a courtesy call and see if she would let them use her place for kirtan. One of the men had gone to see her at her home several hours out of the city, but from behind her closed door, she had refused to meet with him unless he brought an introductory letter from Gaudiya Mat in New Delhi. Vinoda Vani Dasi was a fruit of a 35 years of sannyasis preaching in England. Haribol. So after making a lot of effort, these sannyasi disciples of Bhaktisarana Thakur Maharaj, they were able to make one Mataji into devotee. So these are very, very nectarian pastimes of Srila Prabhupada and his disciples in very early days. And we had just little bit pay our attention and we can carry on. So this is what happened to the Mataji. But from behind her closed door, she had refused to meet with him unless he brought an introductory letter from the Gaudiya Mat in New Delhi. Vinoda Vani Dasi was a fruit of 35 years of sannyasis preaching in England, whereas in 4 months, Prabhupada's young American missionaries were startling London. Haribol! Raise your hands. Haribol! Yes, that was the Shakti of Srila Prabhupada. Wherever he went, people were jumping, dancing, becoming mad. So, after a month of living scattered throughout the city, the devotees met a landlord who allowed them to stay together rent-free in a vacant warehouse at Covent Garden. The devotees improvised a temporary temple and soon recruited the first 3 British devotees. The newcomers at once took to the full Krishna conscious regimen, including the dhoti, the shaven head, and loved it. What do you think they loved the most? Sorry? Huh? Prasad. They love the prasadam so much that they don't mind putting the dhoti kurta and the saris and just dancing in the middle of the cities. They get intoxicated. Prasad was a very powerful weapon. All of us, we know that, no? After months of living scattered throughout the city, the devotees met a landlord. Okay, that we did read. The devotees, thrilled to see this group expanding and Prabhupada's potency working, decided to phone Prabhupada from the landlord's office. The telephone was a conference phone, and Prabhupada's voice came over the little loudspeaker on the desk. The devotees sat around the desk, listening tensely. Prabhupada, Mukunda said, we have some new brahmacharis here. Oh, are they cooking chapatis? You must take turn to cook chapati every week. Prabhupada wanted his disciples and devotees who join Krishna consciousness to have decent dal, rice, chapati, sabji. And khichdi, of course. We're having nice khichdi these days here. Prabhupada asked from across the ocean. The devotees laughed uncontrollably, then hushed to hear more. No, said Mukunda, but they will be now. The devotees each told Prabhupada how they missed him, and he said he missed them too and would come as soon as they could get a place. So this is what makes a huge difference when you have a very dynamic, very powerful, radiant, vibrant leader leading a group of devotees. Of course, we don't have Prabhupada physically here present, but still is his energy, his Shakti that is making us move, although we are moving a bit slow nowadays in this 2023, 2020s. But this is what those days that these devotees received this direct blessings and mercy from Srila Prabhupada. That's why they can go to extreme limits to do anything for Srila Prabhupada. It was amazing. Sometimes when you read and you think, how was those days? A little bit manifested here in this temple when I was here in the 80s. When I was here also, there was a spirit of Sankirtan, preaching, going out, group of devotees who were still very young. It was a powerful energy vibrating throughout this whole temple. And there was a group of Matajis also here. So after allowing the devotees 3 months in the warehouse at Covent Garden, the landlord announced that he needed to use a space and the devotees would have to move. The couples moved to the 3 separate locations, and again their strong group spirit dissipated. You see, group spirit, we have to work on that. So this is important, whether we are Matajis or Prabhus, but group spirit. Prabhupada began sending 2 or 3 letters a week to the scattered couples, praising them for their sincere determination. The devotees would gather regularly, if only to show one another the latest letters. Prabhupada wrote to Mukunda of his desire to preach Krishna consciousness in the West, specifically London. So far as I am concerned, I always wish only to expedite my mission of life to spread Krishna consciousness in the western part of the world. And Prabhupada was a perfect recipient of his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Maharaj. Many disciples took his instructions. But Srila Prabhupada, he received these instructions in India when he met his spiritual master in a few occasions, especially on Radha Kund. And this went deep in his heart and he took it wholeheartedly and he prepared himself, and then when the time was ripe, he went to the West to try very hard to give this Krishna consciousness to the Western country. Shri Radha Radhanath ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. So I am still firmly convinced that if I can establish this movement through the help of all the boys and girls who have now joined with me, then it will be a great achievement. I am an old man and there has already been warning, but before I leave this body, warning was when he was even going to the West, he had heart attacks. And a lot of time he has extreme difficult situations when he was living in America, in New York. I am I am very glad and proud also that you 6 boys and girls, although you have not been able to establish a nice center in London, still you have done your best. And the news have reached far away in India that my disciples are doing very nice work in Krishna consciousness. So that is my pride. I have received a letter from my god brother informing me that it has been advertised in India, then in Vietnam also somebody is spreading Hare Krishna movement. So there is no need to be disappointed. You go on with your work as best as Krishna gives you the opportunity. And there is no cause of your anxiety. Everything is going smoothly. But since you are now separated, the strength of your activities appears to be a little disturbed. That's why we have to keep together. Association of devotees is very important. This is where we get our strength to carry on our life in Krishna consciousness, carry on our chanting, our appreciation of Srila Prabhupada books. So Srila Prabhupada, he was interacting personally with his warriors, with his powerful spiritual warriors who were taking all risk to start Krishna consciousness in Europe. Now you try to assemble together in the same spirit as you were doing, and in that case, temple or no temple, your movement will go on progressively. We are not much concerned about the temple because temple worship is not primary factor in this age. Primary factor is Sankirtan. But sometimes we want to center where people may gather and see. So a temple is required secondarily. So try your best immediately to live together. I am very much eager to see that you are again living together. For Srila Prabhupada's disciples, his instruction that they preach in London was much more binding than any other obligation. He was in their hearts and they thought of him constantly. In carrying out his orders and trying to please him, they were constrained not by force or law, but by love. To please the spiritual master is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And for Prabhupada's sincere disciples, to please him seemed the end in itself. Yeah. So this is the relation, the strong bond between, the very good understanding between the spiritual master and the disciples. If we can get this is the greatest wealth. Then wherever we are, whatever situation we are, we will survive as a devotee and we will carry on practicing Krishna consciousness and most importantly spreading Krishna consciousness. Los Angeles, June 23, 1969. After leaving New Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada visited his center in Los Angeles, where he installed deities of Radha and Krishna. Although, as he had told his disciples in London, the primary factor was Sankirtan, deity worship was also necessary. In his writings, Prabhupada had discussed the need of deity worship, and he had gradually introduced higher and higher standards of deity worship in each of his ISKCON centers. Los Angeles having become the model ISKCON center, was a natural place for him to introduce a more opulent and demanding standard of worshipping Radha and Krishna. That is what is very unique in our organization, in our ISKCON society, that many other devotees from other sampradayas, they also they appreciate very much that in our ISKCON temples we have very high standard of deity worship. All over the world, wherever we have properly installed deities, and especially here in Radha Radhanath temple, all glories to the pujaris. Prabhupada is extremely pleased how worship is done here. And every single part of this process is well done and well maintained. Hari Bol. Raise your hands. Hare Krishna. Shri Radha Radhanath ki. You must be very happy and proud about that. Especially the pujaris also, because India, we have a lot of good standard, very good standard. But a lot of time pujaris has to be given some Lakshmi, which is important because a lot of them, they are grihasthas. But sometimes they do naughty things, the young pujaris. Yeah, one day I was in Ahmedabad, and one pujari, he was doing arti. Of course, a lamp was there. Then all the time the fan was on the deities, but during arti time the fan was on the pujari. He turned on him. Yeah, many things happen. Sometimes if you don't supervise it. One day in Delhi, there was a big stir. One new pujari, young one, he put Radha Krishna to sleep on the bed and some distance apart. So the other pujari, when who came to wake up the senior pujaris, they were very furious. They said, "What's going on? Why did you do that? We were training you properly. Why you're not following?" He said, "No, the Lordship had a fight between them at night." So the devotees chastised him very heavily in the morning and stopped him from the service. So sometimes several things happen. So while more than 100 devotees and guests sat in this spacious hall, Prabhupada bathed and dressed the little forms of Radha and Krishna, then placed them on the altar. He was inviting Radha and Krishna to descend, to give his disciples the opportunity to serve them. He was offering his disciples Radha and Krishna with faith that his disciples would not neglect them. If the devotees somehow lost their enthusiasm, Prabhupada explained in his lecture, then the worship would become like idol worship. So this is what, although it became tough in the Western countries to maintain high standard of deity worship, but the devotees did. And especially the Indian community everywhere in the world, they became initiated, and they also helped and assisted to take to Krishna consciousness and to take care of deities, and everywhere in America, in Europe, everywhere. So if there is no life, then it is idol worship. Where there is life, feeling, then you think, where is Krishna? Here is Krishna. Oh, I have to serve him. I have to dress him. I have to serve Radharani. She is here. Oh, I just have to do it very nicely, and as far as possible, decorate her to the best capacity. If you think like this, then you are Krishna conscious. But if you think that it is a brass-made doll or idol, then Krishna will reciprocate with you accordingly. If you think that this is a brass-made idol, then it will remain brass-made idol for you forever. But if you elevate yourself to a higher platform of Krishna consciousness, then Krishna, this very Krishna, will talk with you. This Krishna will talk with you. Yes, Prabhupada used to talk to deities, used to talk to him. Srila Prabhupada, the deities appeared in his dreams several times, and he was constantly absorbed in the thoughts of the lordships, and he was always, wherever he went, he tried to make sure that the disciples, the followers, they also take care of deities very nicely and feel the presence of Radha Krishna wherever they are. Even on our Padayatra, we have deities, Itai Gaur Sundar. Although it is tough, but we try to maintain as much as standard as we can on Padayatra. No matter where we were, or even nowadays Padayatra is still going on, the devotees come in Mangalarti in time. Whether it is rain, hot, cold, it's open air. Mangalarti we always had and have. And I got, when I came here in 1987, then I got first time I got the opportunity to do service under the supervision of Radhanath Mataji, and then do some deity worship, learn cooking for deities. But one day, when I was new on Padayatra, we had a pujari, and he was collecting lot of donations and keeping in the chariot every day. One day he just disappeared. He left the puja, the seva of the deity, and our manager, our Prabhu, Jai Vijay Prabhu, was in panic. Who will look after the deity? Who will take care? Because there you have to dress deity before Mangalarti. Because after Mangalarti, Tulsi Puja, you have to be on the road, walking with a chariot, with a bullock cart. So then I did some service here. So I was always instructed to do Gaura Hari Seva. I was not allowed on Radha Krishna to dress those days. So I little bit have knowledge for some month. Then I said to Jai Vijay Prabhu, don't worry, I will assist. And it was not easy. And then I first jumped on the altar with the help of another devotee. And before Mangalarti, we did the bathing of the deity. It was not easy for a few days, for a few weeks. Then I learned and I assisted there. Of course, we don't make Mangal sweet, but once in a while we make Mangal sweet. We keep it for a few days. We offer in the morning. We used to do that. And every day we did the bathing, everything before Mangalarti. Then we did Mangalarti. We went on the road daily. That was our daily program. So even on Padayatra, we tried to follow Prabhupada instructions as much as we could. And nowadays I would even increase the standard, offering beautiful dresses and good seva. So with each visit to each center, Prabhupada gave the devotees more service, deepening their commitment to Krishna, All the various services were actually the spiritual master's responsibility, he said. And when the disciple cleaned the temple or performed any service, he did so as the spiritual master's assistant. And any job done improperly was a spiritual master's anxiety. If the devotees whimsically changed the deity worship or neglected the temple, then Prabhupada, more than any disciple, would feel distress. So whenever Prabhupada saw a disciple eager to take on more of the anxiety of preaching Krishna consciousness, he would assign that devotee greater responsibility. Anxiety for serving Krishna, Prabhupada said, was the greatest satisfaction. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur had stated, the trouble I encounter in your devotional service, I will consider the greatest happiness. So satisfaction for the devotee, Prabhupada explained, lay in pleasing the previous spiritual masters, and that was best accomplished by preaching to the fallen souls. To the degree that the devotees carried out the order, they would satisfy the spiritual master and subsequently feel satisfaction themselves. Prabhupada gave the example of Krishna and the gopis. When the gopis pleased Krishna in the Ras dance, Krishna smiled, and when the gopis saw Krishna's smile, their happiness and beauty increased a million times. When Krishna saw the newly increased beauty of the gopis, he became more pleased, and thus the happiness and beauty of the gopis increased even more. This loving competition increased on and on unlimitedly. So here we are doing very good service, all the devotees here in the Radharana temple. Yeah, all glories to all of you. Very nice. We get everything done very devotionally and very meticulously. When you go in the deity area, you feel so enthused by clean. Sorry for that. Only thing I don't know we do here or not, but many temples in India they do. Maha cleaning, and all devotees get involved. In India they do once a month. It's nice. All our devotees, like they did Gundicha Marjanam before the Rath Yatra could reach Gundicha, other side of Puri temple. So one time when Padayatra was in Jagannath Puri, we also participated. But I was sad that our devotees from the Western countries couldn't go and participate. But that day when there was Gundicha Marjanam day, a lot of sannyasis from the Gaudiya Math came, a lot of devotees from ISKCON, from the area of Bhubaneswar, Jagannath Puri, and we got an opportunity the way we heard and read in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Of course, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was personally here, that was something else. But still we had many sannyasis also. You can see them carrying buckets, scrubbing every part of the temple. Some of the old, very advanced disciples of Bhakti Sar Thakur Maharaj trying to scrub also, clean with a broom. It was very, very unique, very special. Maybe that can be done here also. One day call all the devotees from the temple and the congregation and get together and scrub the whole temple. Everywhere, everyone is cleaning. Mandir Marjanam. And even the place where the birds are making dirty. Every day I see the maid is scrubbing and cleaning. So that time when there was Gundicha Marjanam, Everyone was competing to collect as much dust they can, dirt and dust. Of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu collected the most. So we can try. It's very nice, as we read in this part of this lilamrta. Group work, teamwork is very enjoyable. So even in dealings between spiritual master and disciple, a sense of loving competition prevailed, each wanting to serve the other, neither seeking service for himself. Prabhupada was increasing the duties and responsibilities of each of his ISKCON centers, and sincere disciples were coming forward to accept those responsibilities. Thus, everyone was feeling satisfaction. This was pure devotional service, to be free from all material desires and to serve Krishna as directed by the spiritual master and the scriptures. When Prabhupada said that his disciples would become happy by serving Krishna, he spoke from his own deep realization of that ecstasy. Whenever he installed a deity in one of the temples, his ecstasy was greater than that of any of his disciples. At the Rath Yatra festivals in Golden Gate Park or any public preaching function, he was a most enlivened. He, more than any of his disciples, wanted the public to come and chant and dance in the temple and see the deity of Krishna, and when they did, he was the most pleased, and if a disciple fell away, Prabhupada was the most displeased. Nor was Prabhupada aloof from the details of temple management. The cost of things, how the devotees were being received in public, how each disciple was advancing. Although his disciples saw him as a most exalted Vaishnava, an intimate association of Lord Krishna, they knew that he was always available to guide them in their services. He was their leader, but he was with them. He was far above them, and he remained close to them. Only rarely did he leave them behind. As at the Los Angeles deity installation, when he began to cry, speaking directly to Krishna, Krishna, I am most rotten and fallen, but I have brought this thing for you. Please take it. Except for such rare moments, Prabhupada's disciples saw him preaching and serving along with them. Hare Krishna. So I have reached here. I think now it is going to speak on San Francisco, July 25, 1969. So this is where we are so much indebted and also at the same time blessed to be part of this wonderful movement and society founded by a great Acharya like Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol! Jeev Jago! Hari Bol! Hari Hari Bol! Srila Prabhupada ki! Yes, thank you very much. Any comment or any questions? So every day if we can get the mood of getting into understanding how much we are fortunate, that we are connected a little bit as an insignificant little part of Prabhupada's movement, then we will get our engine going and getting up and facing all the challenges and obstacles on our path and push on and go on. So it's nice to read every now and then Prabhupada lilamrta. Believe me or not, Padayatra, we used to play these movies that Yadubar Prabhu has beautifully made together with Mataji on reel. Is it real? No? 70 millimeter reel, 17 millimeter reel, something like that. Our leader Jai Vijay Prabhu, he before joining the Hare Krishna movement, he was putting these reels on aeroplane in San Francisco airport. So it was easy for him. And other devotees also on Padayatra learn it. So every night we will have these movies, Golden Avatar, The Land of Vrindavan, The Wall of Hare Krishna, and then Your Ever Well Wisher, my favorite. We watch them every day for days and days, weeks and months, and never get tired. Especially Your Ever Well Wisher. If you watch, you sometimes can fall into tears. How much Prabhupada, he struggled and he faces so much difficulties from being in Vrindavan, going to Delhi, going in Jaladuta and starting the movement. Yes, so how much we are indebted to Srila Prabhupada and his ISKCON society. So this is how the mood we must live with daily. Then we will never lose our enthusiasm. Day after day, weeks will go by, months will go by, years, decades will turn very old. We'll still be enjoying and appreciating Srila Prabhupada movement. Hare Krishna. Any question or comment? Srila Prabhupada lilamrta ki.